Let's take a look at the research paper, Creative Modalities in Therapy. So I thought it would be interesting to look at some therapies that aren't typical approaches, like art therapy, which you have a little bit of experience in, more than most people already. And then we have music therapy, dance therapy, drama therapy or psychodrama. There is also something called poetry therapy and narrative therapy, which you could look into if you want. And if there's other therapies that you discover along the way that involve the arts, is my idea, you could run that by me. So I thought that since there's an interest in the arts, we could look at how, and we know that art is healing very much for the person doing it and for the person watching. It can be very profound. And so I thought we could look at how psychology uses art and music and dance and poetry and narrative and drama. And you could research on your own a little bit about each of these approaches. So you will choose the approach you want to use. You're not going to research all of these approaches. Say you choose art therapy. That's the one you're going to do a little bit of research on. Then you will go and you will look at the case study sheet. See, there's on the page where the assignment is, it says Case Studies Worksheet. I have that right here to refer to. So there are 4 case studies you can choose from. And pretend that these, one of these, just one, don't choose all of them. So one approach and one case. So I'm choosing art therapy, and I am going to choose, I'm going to choose case study number 4, Julie. So that's what I'm working with. And now that I've made those choices, and I know that my modality of art therapy would be helpful for Julie, I'm going to go ahead and research art therapy. Don't choose a case that, if the person isn't going to be able to use your modality, and then like your results in your paper are, it wasn't effective, this can't be used for this type of person. Don't go that route. Go the route where you can actually utilize the modality. Okay, so we've got Julie, we've got art therapy, and now I'm going to research it. And feel free to Google it. I included here some sites that I looked up for a start for you guys. This short film, Can Art Be Medicine, is pretty interesting. And also there's a website called Creative Therapies you can look into. And then there's a TED Talk about drama therapy. I tried to find something for each approach. 2 TED Talks. There's a link to the art therapy website that, since I'm doing art therapy, I might want to look into. And a link to the AATA fact sheet, which is also art therapy. And there's another video on art therapy. There's a link to the music therapy website, the music therapy fact sheet, and this looks like a music therapy TED Talk. And then there's the dance magazine link, What is Dance Therapy? A dance therapy TED Talk. And that's what I came up with in a really pretty fast search. So feel free to look further. And for your paper, you're going to cover the following headings. You're going to look into, when you research, what's the history of art therapy? Like really short, not long. You're going to start your paper with an introduction, right? I'm doing art therapy. I'm going to be looking at, what's her name, Julie? Yeah. I'm going to be looking at my case, Julie, and I'm going to be, just kind of introduce it and then go into the history. Well, the history of art therapy is this, and the first pioneers of art therapy were these people, and the concept is this. And then look into the treatment of how you're going to approach Julie. So explain why you chose art therapy for Julie, and then suggest 3 activities that might help Julie. You can make them up. It's okay. I want you to be creative. So, if you're doing dance therapy, you're more of an expert on dance therapy, than me. And then after you look into dance therapy, you'll have a good idea of, well, how do they use this modality with a person who has Alzheimer's? Is dance therapy helpful? Is music therapy helpful for an older person that has dementia? And you'll know. And it's okay if you make them up. The ideas of how you're going to approach the person, what the treatment modalities are. So I'm going to make up 3 treatment modalities. I'm going to, here I give the example of draw a picture of the 2 moods that you feel you're in and put yourself in the center. I could have her do a mandala, kind of like a circle with different images in it, and then have her choose the theme for it. So, or I tell her what the theme is. I want you to create a mandala, and the theme of it is peace of mind. Something made up like that, right? But it's creative. And then for the 3rd art, I could have her do a collage. That's artistic, right? That's using medium. And I could say, do a collage of how you want next year to go. Kind of a vision board, right? So those are my ideas off the top of my head, and I want you to do the same thing. And then I would like you to kind of think of her, her symptoms, and then give her a diagnosis. And you can do a little Googling and research this. And wherever you find this information, that would be, and all of this information, wherever you find it online, that goes on your reference page at the end. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And then medication. It's a psychiatrist's job to medicate, but let's look into it, and we can learn a little bit of what kind of medication might help Julie. And I'm not going to hold you to, according to research, that wouldn't. I want you to try your hand at it, okay? And then experiential learning. I want a paragraph, tiny paragraph, like, what did you learn? Did this inspire you? Did you have any thoughts about this? What was your experience? What did you learn from doing this paper? You can do a summary paragraph, or the experiential learning is actually a summary paragraph, isn't it? Okay, and so then the formatting, it's a 5 to 6 page paper. For psychology papers, we do APA formatting, and that's 1-inch margin, 12-point font. You've been doing this. Double spaced, just like you've been doing it, and you create a title page, and then the last page is the reference page. So there's no writing on those pages. It's just the title of the paper, and then the last page are the references you used. You don't write on those pages. And so you don't need, for this very informal APA paper format, you do not need to include an abstract. You do not need to include a table of contents. But I would like you to practice citing inside your paper. So you found a reference to help Julie on psychologicaldisorders.com, if there's such a thing, right? And so you can look up how to format that on your reference page in these, there's APA formatting resource link, and then Scribber. It shows how to format a web page for your reference page. And so you put all those references you used where you got all your information for the diagnosis, the treatment, your research of the history, put all of those web pages or TED Talks or journal articles, whatever you found, list those all on the reference page. Now, inside the paper, whenever you draw from that reference, which you included on your reference page. Just, it doesn't have to be a direct quote. It can be, it doesn't have to be, but it can be like, this is my nod to where I discovered this information, because I didn't really know about this medication before I found it on this webpage. So after I write this sentence about, I think Julie would really be helped by, whatever it is, Prozac. And then in parentheses, I put Psychology Today, 2020. Whatever the author is and whatever the publication year is. And you will have that on your reference page already, so you can just go back there and look it up. And if you have any questions, please ask me. I'm very happy to help you. So APA formatting is so simple, it might be confusing. It's very simple to do. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Please do. So then following these little links I have to maybe help you with the APA formatting, if you need it, is the rubric. So don't feel bad if you get 90 points on this paper, because that's all you can get on this paper. 90 points is 100%. So keep that in mind. If you see 72, that's a B. It's not a C. So it's 90 points is all you can earn on this paper. Unless you decide you want to share it in the presentation, you can earn 5 more points, which I think would be really nice, because as artists, it might be interesting to hear about different approaches if you want to do it. People do Canva, people do VoiceThread, people do MP4 just audio recording. You can share your findings and if you thought it was interesting or what your experience was. Okay, so there's the rubric. So you guys are really good paper writers, so I'm not really worried about that. Just look for this part that I'm looking at is the citation issues. So you want to make sure you cite inside your paper. Many of you are already doing that, and include the reference page at the end. And I hope that helps explain this paper, and I really want it to be an enjoyable experience. And if you have any questions, please just let me know, and I'm happy to help, okay? Thanks so much.